well. Rob Pincus from I.C.E. Training joins us. Rob, how are you, sir?
I'm so glad you guys went with Foreigner. That's so much better than Vanilla Ice. But you guys always have the best intro music for me, so I appreciate the creativity.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I'm glad you could join us on the program today. We do armed citizen stories every day on this program. We always try to rely on the most up-to-date and latest information. And when we get new information, we try to keep people up to date on that. So one of the stories that we had talked about last week was from West Pasco, Washington State, where there was a security guard, I believe at a nuclear facility there. He was at home with his family, middle of the night. Somebody gains entry to the home. Witnesses say that they heard, banging and then gunshots. The sheriff's department said the guy had gained entry into the home when he was shot by the homeowner. But further investigation reveals this guy wasn't apparently a home invader, wasn't apparently trying to break into the home for nefarious purposes. There's speculation that this guy was at a party nearby, perhaps had too much to drink, got confused as to what house he was going to, and somehow gained entry into this other home. I don't want to speculate too much, Rob, on or really at all on this specific instance because we don't know all of the details here. But I did think it would be useful to bring you on and to talk about, again, from a general perspective. None of us wants to be a gun owner who takes a life when that life is not a threat to ours or someone we love. So I thought it would be good to, talk generally about, what we can do as gun owners, when we wake up in the middle of the night to hear that same sound, that strange sound. And then perhaps B, and I realize this isn't, necessarily our purview, but, I think there were two individuals there in that home in Washington State, and there always are at least two individuals that we're talking about here. So, what are some of the things that we can do so that we don't end up in a situation where in the middle of the night we're, trying to enter a wrong home where strangers may not know what our intent is. So do you mind talking about this?
No, I think it's important that we do talk about it, and I appreciate you guys reaching out and wanting to get my thoughts on it. It's unfortunate that this is the exact scenario that we saw several years ago get acted out near Colorado Springs, Colorado, with a young college student who was trying to get into the wrong house. Again, there was alcohol involved, a mistaken location involved. This is an exact scenario taken right out of the pages of advanced concealed carry and advanced home defense classes that I've run and many, many other instructors have run over the years to remind our students that just because someone's banging on your door, just because maybe even somebody makes entry to your home, does not necessarily mean that the appropriate thing to do is shoot. And inevitably in these conversations, the idea of castle doctrine has to come into play and has to be talked about. And one of the things we always remind people is whether it's stand your ground laws or castle doctrine laws, those don't change the circumstances under which you should use a gun to defend yourself. They merely make it easier for you to deal with the legal aftermath when you articulate why you needed to use the gun. So this idea that just because somebody breaches the perimeter of your house, they need to be shot is a falsehood. It's a fallacy. It's something that, I don't know if it contributed in this case, but some of that bravado you see on the internet about, if he crosses over the threshold, I'm going to shoot him because it's my right. Mm-hmm. That kind of bravado doesn't help anyone come up with a real plan.
Oh, absolutely not. So what is your advice, generally speaking? I realize, we've got 5 minutes here, and you're talking about, hours of coursework that you do, but generally speaking, what are some tips that you can offer gun owners?
Generally speaking, the 5-step process is to evade the problem, to arm yourself and barricade, and, depending on the layout of your house, whether you carry a gun in your home, where your gun is stored, which order those two occur in can vary. But it's arm yourself, barricade, communicate, get on the phone with the police, maybe yell out a warning to the threat if you know that they already know where you are and you're behind that locked, barricaded door. And then respond if necessary is always the last step. So let's break it down real quick. Evade. If you can get away, get away. And that is often a contributing factor to these shootings that we have to, in the aftermath, wonder if they were as appropriate as they may have sounded in the beginning. Because if you're standing next to your front door when someone breaks through it, and we don't even know for a fact that this guy broke through the door in the Washington situation, but let's just say somebody did, and that is what happened in Colorado. If you're standing next to your front door with a gun in your hand and on the phone with the police, well aware that someone on the other side of that door means to harm you and you're standing there when that door bursts open, I say you've already made a couple mistakes. Why aren't you 2 corners away? Why aren't you upstairs? Why aren't you behind at least one more door with a piece of furniture in front of it? If you have that much time, get away. You can defend yourself in your bedroom. If they want to smash up your stereo, if they want to steal your jewelry, that's not why you have a gun. You're not going to shoot somebody over a stereo. Get away from the threat. If you truly believe you're in danger, you should be retreating to the safest, furthest possible place you can be from your house, or from the entry to your house, inside of your home, maybe outside your home. If you know you have a clear path and you can get out and run to the neighbor's house, go to the neighbor's house and call the police. So that's something that not a lot of people talk about, this importance of avoiding conflict and how that even, in my opinion, it does extend to your home. We have our rights, but we also have a responsibility to simply be safe. And sometimes that means avoiding this aftermath. You don't want to be the person that Rob Pincus is looking at your situation and trying to decide if people can learn from mistakes you made. We don't always find that every defensive shooting is plays out perfectly. Mark Walters and I wrote a whole book on lessons about what happens when people can't defend themselves or take action that's inappropriate and end up in a problem situation. Sometimes the problem situations occur because people use firearms inappropriately. And we don't know what happened in Washington yet,
right,
but we do know that people are asking questions. And, man, if you had to defend yourself, you don't want anybody to have to ask questions. You want it to be really obvious you did everything you could to avoid that shooting situation.
Absolutely. Rob, listen, appreciate you coming on the program, sir. Hope we can do it again soon, and we'll see you in Indy.
Yes, sir. I will be there. I'm speaking every day of the NRANews meeting and really looking forward to it.
Fantastic. All right. Looking forward to seeing you, sir. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, man.
Rob Pincus with I.C.E. Training joining us here on NRAnews.com.